Now joined by our correspondent in Sana'a, Yusuf Maudi, to give us more details on the latest situation. Yusuf, what do you have to share with us and our viewers?
Yes, so the artillery shelling that's happening in North Yemen, in the province of Sa'ada, this is something that's happening around the clock. And, on my way here to the studio, we received more breaking news of another attack, which killed more people and injured more people, including an African migrant. Every day we're getting these reports of continuous artillery shelling happening in the North Province of Sa'ada. Every day we're getting reports of more civilians being killed by this artillery military campaign by the Saudi-led coalition in the North Province of Sa'ada. Of course, as you know, the North Province of Sa'ada is the Ansar Allah movement stronghold. That's where the Yemeni revolution started, and they've been bombarded the most by airstrikes since the war started in 2015. So it seems that the strategy for now by Saudi Arabia, it seems to be that although they've scaled down on their air assaults, their aerial attacks on Yemen, it seems that they have traded that for intensifying the artillery shelling that's happening in the bordering region close to Saudi borders. And in actuality, these artillery shellings are killing more people than the Saudi airstrikes themselves. And as you mentioned, this is something that's happening in the midst of continuous UN efforts to try to reach a peace resolution between the Yemeni government and the Saudi-led coalition. A couple of days ago, the Omani delegation, they left the country and they failed to reach any political solution between both sides of the conflict. And even with peace negotiations taking place for over the past 9 months, of course, in April, a ceasefire was declared, and both sides, they were instructed to scale down their military offensive. The Saudi-led coalition has not done that. When the peace or when the ceasefire agreement was announced in April of 2022, Saudi Arabia began to intensify its artillery shelling in the province of Al-Hudaydah on the western coast, and it intensified its artillery shelling in the North Province of Sa'ada. In addition to that, they've also reinforced militarily in the areas that's under their control. So if you look at the entire southern coastal line of Yemen, that's all under the occupation of UAE soldiers. If you travel from Oman to Yemen, you will find that all of the checkpoints leading up to the north is all controlled and occupied by UAE Emirati soldiers. So Yemen continues to be under occupation by the Saudi-led coalition. The Yemeni people continue to be on the receiving end of these artillery shellings that are happening in the North Province of Sa'ada, and the Yemeni people are still suffering because of the strangling economic blockade, and all this happening under the UN supervision. And all this happening while the UN envoy was in the capital Sana'a, and the UN, the Yemeni people are beginning to voice their disapproval of of the strategy of trying to engage in peaceful efforts while they are the ones who are starving on the ground, and while they are the ones on the receiving end of brutal artillery shelling from Saudi Arabia.
All right, thanks a lot, Yusuf. Press TV's Yusuf Maudi joining us from the Yemeni capital, Sana'a.